Chapter 5: How you sabotage yourself and what to do about it. Even if you consider yourself a fairly persistent person, it's likely you sabotaged your goals at least several times. Self sabotage comes in all shapes and sizes, but most frequently it starts with rationalizing why you should give up when you shouldn't. In this chapter, we will explore some of the most common self sabotage behaviors. You will also learn how to deal with limiting beliefs that threaten your goals, sometimes without you even being aware of them. 5 most common ways you lead yourself to self sabotage. There are many causes why we sabotage ourselves, but there are 5 primary reasons why it happens. Status quo bias. When you prefer the current state of affairs, you perceive any changes to the status quo as a loss. It leads to powerful resistance to change. Even if you want to achieve your goals, you can't help but feel you are losing something. Consequently, you sabotage yourself and give up in order to return to the previous state of things. For instance, people who want to lose weight may perceive the changes in their diet as a loss, even if eating junk food doesn't serve them. There are 2 ways to deal with status quo bias in regards to giving up. First is remind yourself of your goals and ask yourself if the status quo serves these objectives. Let's say you want to start waking up earlier to become more productive. After a couple of days, you feel the loss of the freedom to stay up late. But does staying up late serve your goal to become more productive? Secondly, ask yourself if you would pick the status quo if it hadn't already been the current state of things. If you could choose between waking up early and staying up late, would you still choose staying up late as the optimal state of affairs? When you become aware of the fact you want to give up because you missed the previous state of things, ask yourself aforementioned questions. Due to loss aversion, people have a hard time losing and strongly prefer avoiding losses to acquiring gains. In fact, studies suggest that losses hurt twice as much as gains would feel good. Consequently, if you want to set effective goals, the reward you will get from them has to be at least twice as powerful as the feeling of loss you will experience because of the sacrifices you have to make. Restraint bias. Research shows that people who overestimate their ability to control impulses like hunger, drug cravings, and sexual arousal are more prone to overexpose themselves to temptations. Due to this bias, you are likely to sabotage yourself if you believe you are great at controlling impulses. When you are on a diet, you may be tempted to take 1 or 2 days off just because you think you are great at self control. Unless it's a scheduled cheat day, your decision will probably lead to a permanent diet break. If you want to write a book and set a goal to write 1000 words a day, the restraint bias can lead you to skipping several days of writing because you believe you can always go back to your routine. The result is predictable. 2 weeks pass and routine is gone. It's better to underestimate the power of self control than overestimate it. Don't expose yourself to temptations if you don't have to. Boredom. Every time you try something new, Dopamine makes you feel good. It thrives on novelty and variation. Advertisements prey on this phenomenon, promising you a new experience, a different taste, improved product, and so on. The moment something becomes boring, you may become tempted to give up and seek something else. It's an extremely common pattern among entrepreneurs looking for the perfect business. Instead of focus on just one venture, fueled by their need for variation and novelty, they jump from one idea to another. It's dopamine at work. However, dopamine is neither good nor bad for you. It can work to your benefit as it can work to your detriment. You can benefit from the feel good emotions it causes by introducing some variation and novelty when working on your goals. Let's say you have a goal of losing 20 pounds and you are at the brink of giving up because your diet is bland and your exercise is boring. Why not try new foods you have never eaten? Why not use exotic spices to bring some variation? Why not try a different sport or mix up your workouts? When you find something that works for you, stick to it and do all in your power to keep it exciting. If it becomes too boring, the risk of self sabotage will increase with each day. Feeling unworthy. Low self esteem can make you feel as if you don't deserve success. Even if things are going well, you will sabotage yourself just because of the mistaken belief you don't deserve to achieve your goal. Building self esteem starts with self awareness and self monitoring. When you start monitoring your inner critic and replacing bad thoughts with the positive ones, you will be on your way to kill your self critical voice. Making a list of your positive attributes is another useful technique to improve your self esteem. The key is to be honest and write the list without any judgments. Once it's ready, reread it every single day until it sinks in that you are not as worthless as you think. Another useful method is to become kinder toward other people. When you treat other people well, they will return the favor, thus making you feel better about yourself. In more extreme cases, such as low self esteem caused by domestic violence, a consultation with a psychologist is the first step toward recovery. Again, I don't play a doctor. Fear of the unknown. Even if you really want to achieve your big goals, sometimes you will sabotage yourself just because you will be too afraid of what's going to happen when you achieve them. It's a crippling mental block that can prevent you from achieving success in life. One of the most effective ways to overcome the fear of the unknown is to speak with the people who have achieved your goal. The more you understand the process and what reaching the goal entails, the less afraid you will be achieving your goal. Each time you achieve a small win, look back and ask yourself if it's scary to be on the other side. Gradual changes will make you realize your life won't dramatically change overnight. Fear of the unknown is often related to the fear of losing control. Some people sabotage themselves when they think something is too good to last just to maintain their belief they are in control. Deal with this problem by gradually letting go of control over the small things. The more often you expose yourself to situations where you have little to no control, the more at peace you will be with the feeling of uncertainty. How to overcome limiting beliefs? Limiting beliefs are yet another reason why people sabotage themselves. They are so important, they deserve their own subchapter. Limiting beliefs don't get a lot of publicity in your head. They work behind the scenes, leading you to make the wrong choices and give up for the wrong reasons. Some of the most common limiting beliefs and the results include like I need to drive myself to exhaustion to succeed. If you believe you can't achieve success without working 12 hours a day, sooner or later you will drive yourself to burnout and give up due to the lack of energy. Similarly, I failed so many times it will happen again. Experiencing failures can make some people enter a vicious cycle. Even if they set new goals and work on them, sooner or later they remember their past failures and let them influence their current behavior. It's not possible. Comes in many flavors, but always comes down to the feeling of doubt. How are you supposed to persevere if you don't believe it's possible? It's too late to change. Usually, the result of comparing yourself to other people who achieved something sooner than you give up just because you believe you have to achieve something before some arbitrary time. For example, you may believe you are too old to start a business if you are 50. Even now, people think when they are 25, the same thing. I have no idea how to do it. You assume you are much less intelligent than you are. As a result, you give up at the first sign of problems or things you have to learn. There are various ways to reverse limiting beliefs. The most helpful way to overcome them is to look for evidence you are wrong. For instance, let's assume I believe that if I don't have a lot of free time during the day, I might I might as well give up now, as I will never build a business. To reverse this belief, I would look for people who have built a successful business despite numerous responsibilities in their lives. If there are such people, I have proof my belief is wrong. Then I would ask myself how I can replicate the results and if my new belief would serve me better. My limiting belief won't magically disappear overnight, but each time I deconstruct it this way, it will weaken, soon to be replaced with an enabling belief. Each time the old limiting belief appears in your mind, remind yourself why it's wrong. If possible, reach out to people who achieved your goal and ask them for advice on how to push through. You can use a similar framework for every limiting belief you have. The key is to stop identifying yourself with the belief and question it. By successfully reversing each limiting belief that would otherwise lead you to giving up, you will experience dramatic personal growth and become more persistent than ever before. Now, how you sabotage yourself and what to do about it. A quick recap. First, status quo bias will tempt you to return to the previous state of things. Battle it by asking yourself if the status quo serves these objectives. Would you still have chosen the status quo if it hadn't already been in place? Second, make sure the gains you will experience from your goal are at least twice as good as the losses you are going to suffer. Third, the restraint bias will lead you to thinking you are better at self control than you really are. Don't overexpose yourself to temptations. Underestimate your ability to control your impulses rather than the other way around. Fourth, introduce novelty and variation when working on your goals to avoid boredom that will lead to burnout. Fifth, work on your self esteem to avoid sabotaging yourself because you do not feel worthy of the reward. The top ways to build self esteem include monitoring your thoughts, acknowledging your strengths, and being kinder to others. 6. Research what will happen when you achieve your goal to reduce your risk of the unknown. Practice letting go of control to become more at peace with the feeling of uncertainty. Seventh and the last one, Limiting beliefs can lead you to self sabotage. Eliminate them by coming up with the evidence against them.